Well, just recovering after the hours of the Supreme Court case, basically between the government and President Maduro of the Venezuelan sovereign state and the interloper Juan Guaidó, who appointed or claims to have appointed his own board to the Banco Central de Venezuela, and maintains that the Bank of England is a safe deposit for his claim upon the Venezuelan national asset. Most of the morning was taken up with the QC for the Guaidó faction was Andrew Fulton QC, and there was the QC, there's James ED for the Secretary of State to present the state's argument about the issuing of recognition notices that recognise President self-elect CIA puppet Juan Guaidó as the interim president of Venezuela. They spent a long time going through authorities about the public policy, if it is to recognise such a person as a so-called legitimate head of state, and that the government were quite clear that this was something that they were keen to promote. So we know how they feel. In answer, and the defence QC Nicholas Vinyl presented most of his argument, although it will continue tomorrow, as to why the situation is intolerable in terms of not only English law but the international law. And this can't be ignored when a government issues a recognition notice that is more than ambiguous in terms of the language that is used and in terms of the effect it has upon the sovereign relationships and treaties, etc., with non-UK jurisdictions. It was a lot, and he made very good arguments. I can't go into all the authorities, but there were quite a few of the cases, especially relating to the issue of what recognition statements by governments actually mean, and whether we should take them that the historical claim was that the recognition would follow, well, de facto, should a government change or something, election happen, a new government comes along, that in reality on the ground, the Maduro presidency is perfectly sound, and in terms of the Venezuelan people, they feel they've made their democratic choice, and indeed that legitimacy is in fact what is happening now. To recognise a government but not a state, and if you recognise Juan Guaidó as some kind of interim president, or he's entitled to be a president, I think is the language used. So he claims an entitlement, and the state says that that is recognition. And unfortunately they've confused the fact that the reality is the Venezuelan embassy, the Venezuelan diplomats, the Venezuelan government and the Venezuelan people are all quite assured of their current status as the legitimate people and representatives of a foreign country. The justices and the law lords who are reviewing this case, including Lord Leggett, have asked some personal questions today, But I think to follow this case is going to get quite detailed in the definition of what recognition notice issued by a government that is in conflict with a policy and practice, and that is going to be the end result. So I'm going to try and catch most of the case for the rest of the week if I can, but obviously it's difficult to get every nuance, but I'll certainly report back on the judgment which could be made sometime shortly or sometime long after the closing arguments are made. So we know what the Supreme Court like, and indeed we are into the holiday season for not only the people but judges are the same, I believe. So yeah, press on the balcony. The seagulls and the tennis players being very active today.